So, like I said, we came for 100-day program. That 100-day program is over. Right? What the Prime Minister said, the oxygen is now running out, has run out. You on borrowed time. So, no one in their right mind would jump in and invest right now unless you want to take a position and you are, on a high risk strategy that you get your money plus some more because the uncertainties that are linked to always with a situation like this. And this is unprecedented, by the way, right? So the only way to get this thing sorted out is to have an election. That's the only way. So that is why we want to have the election. I mean, as UNP, we would like to have it now, like I said before, because our opposition is split and it's easier for us now. So, so we don't expect, investors to rush to Sri Lanka right now. We expect them to wait, and that's quite normal. And by July, by August, once we see a stable government for the next 5 years, I think we will see a very, very different picture once we turn the page, because we've only turned the page halfway, and we've only done 50% of the work. We still have 50% of the work to do. So that's the second point. And the third point, SEC comes directly underneath. There's been all kinds of securities fraud that has taken place. People have just openly traded on inside information. It's not funny. In this country, whether it is Michael Milken or Raj Ratnam, they had to pay, right? And insider trading is a crime. And in Sri Lanka, insider trading, it seems like, is the norm, not the exception, right? So if that is the norm, then everybody is trying to trade on inside information. And I know that currently there is a particular case being investigated in the FCIU about the stocks of Apollo. How did the stocks of Apollo go up like 300% just before the announcement was made that Indian party was just about to buy, certain percentage of shares of that company, and then who dumped them on that on the rest of the public. Not all kinds of issues, as you know, two chairpersons resigned. So we need to bring it under control, and we have to have transparency in that system. So those are the answers to the questions. But I don't want to come here and sound hopeless, right? But I also don't want to come here and tell you lies. I want to be realistic, right? I am a politician, true, but I'm a professional also. I can't forget that, I'm a professional just because I'm a politician. So I can't bring myself to lie to you. So that is the reality. So I think if we all are on that same page, we need to take Sri Lanka to a different level. Come on, we can be so much better. I mean, when Lee Kuan Yew came in the early 50s and said, I want to make Singapore look like Colombo, what has happened? A lot of you guys are here in Europe, in Australia, and how do we connect? How do we? You talked about investors and investments. What does it take for us to work with you and, bring more investments. What are you looking for? What is it that we are doing wrong? How can we change? So, I mean, what is good governance to you? What are fund managers looking for? What are the investors looking for? Why is it that we don't have a single Fortune 500 investor in Sri Lanka? How come only the casino operators want to come to Sri Lanka? Why are there no high-tech guys coming? Why are there no manufacturing plants coming in? What is so wrong? Why is that? What do we need to do? We can tweak the doing business index and do some window dressing on accounts and put a glossy presentation at the Ritz or something like that. That's not bringing people in. That's not bringing us dollars. That's not bringing us jobs. How do we collaborate? I mean, look at the NRI story. Why is there a SLRI story? How come it's not there? We talked about Sanjeeva Veeravatna earlier. And now that's a great example. Right? And I was talking to some guys called York Street Partners the other day. All three of them work for big Wall Street firms here, 3 or 4 of them. And they've set up this thing called the York Street Partners. Sounds interesting. They're doing interesting things. And people are setting up little things. Look at Slim Tech. I don't know how many of you know of Slim Tech. It's an amazing nanotech joint venture. 50% government, 50% private sector. Board of directors are people like Mahesh Amalin, Ashraf Omar, Hans Vijay Surya, some of the top CEOs trying to create some interesting and innovative developments in the nanotech area. So those are still few and far between. We need more of them. So I'm going beyond your question, but in the same line in terms of investments. Portfolio investments is one, but we would rather have direct investment. We would rather, that set up physical operations, do something.
Yes, I'm happy that people like you are taking leadership in the country. And there are 2 things that I was concerned about. One is, we love all people. As far as I'm concerned, I'm sure all of us. The whole world is our family. All ethnic and religious communities are our family. But at the same time, Sri Lanka had a terrorist issue recently. The government had to go in and solve the problem. And they call it a victory. To me, it does not matter. The important thing is they defended the country and kept it neutral, which I believe is what most Sri Lankans would want, regardless of ethnicity. But today, it seems as if people are talking as the only solution to be federalism, which a lot of people believe is Sri Lanka is too small for. Right? That's one thing that we have to, but for me, as far as I'm concerned, regardless of ethnicity, we are one family. Regardless of religion, we are one family. And it goes with our cultures, Sinhalese family. Another issue, this of course is not in your field. Second thing is that I was regarding China is an emerging economy. We have to be friendly with all countries. Every nation thinks primarily of themselves. Now I've been here over 40 years and I'm recognized. Every nation thinks of themselves, right? Sri Lanka should too. And China has been a country that has supported Sri Lanka even in the the overcoming the terrorist issue. While a lot of countries were afraid because they felt that And we should take advantage because today China is one of the strongest economies in the world. I read somewhere that last few months ago, IMF or World Bank had said they were number one, even above US. But I didn't know, I'm not an economist like you. Yeah. So these are things we have to make, Sri Lanka has to make sure we use all the resources, right? Western countries as well as China, India. I remember way back, there were issues when we had to go to India and get the 13th Amendment. No one supported Sri Lanka. So, and by the way, I'm not actually, I've been here for 40 years, so I never voted for any political party in Sri Lanka. But Senanayakals, who my father is friends from youth. But I'm here as just a person of Sri Lanka who will be living here. And who cares for Sri Lanka and what's happening?
No, I mean, no one is talking of federalism anymore. That chapter is gone, it's past.
But the DNA is talking
No, TNA is not really talking about federalism. I mean, TNA is willing to accept the military
But Modi
imposition.
referred to something about that.
No, Modi did refer to a federal Indian, he didn't say anything about Sri Lanka. What he said is that in India, there is a fine federal solution in India. India is a different, Sri Lanka is different. But the recent happenings in the north with respect to Mr. Vigneswaran, there is also a power struggle, you must realize, within the TNA. Right, the moderates like Sambandhan and
so he's
no, yeah, the younger person, I forget his name. Sumatran, right? And some others who want to take a much more hard line, driven particularly by a diaspora group, I think. This is a difficult yet critical problem that needs to be solved. I think the